AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2. Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Kendall Rogers, 1 hour from right now. Preview regional baseball starts this weekend. Of course, unfortunately, the Tigers are not part of it. Still, they'll play on Omaha. We'll talk about it with Kendall Rogers in 1 hour from right now. A guy who knows what it's like to play to and through Omaha. Former Tigers second baseman, Cole Freeman, good enough to join us in studio. How are you, dude?
I'm doing good. I'm upset I'm not watching the Tigers right now, but doing great.
We're all right there, man. We were talking a little off air, but it was a brutal watch this year.
Yeah.
For you as a guy who played, what was it like watching the team?
I mean, that's well put. I mean, you expect them to struggle, especially coming out the gate, being 1-2 in different polls. Everybody's gunning for them, especially after the national champ. At some point, there's going to be that little lull, but it kind of, I think we started, 10-0, 11-0 or something like that. So we started off how we expected. Then we kind of dropped a couple games right before SEC play and then got into SEC play, and that's really kind of when it, hit the fan. And we were just waiting for that, okay, here it is. Here they start going, especially, again, at the end of the season. At some point, they're going to come alive, always. Even on the tougher teams, at some point they end up picking it up and just seemed to never really get there. I mean, the most exciting series was Tennessee.
Yeah.
And, we were going to hopefully parlay that into the rest of the year and at least be able to get into the tournament. But, yeah, it wasn't in the cards.
I mean, you guys had a similar situation in not exactly, but in 17, obviously had a little bit of a slow start in conference play, and you kind of had that, all right, it's time to kick.
Yeah.
And you went all the way to the championship series.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it really that easy saying like there's a light switch moment?
I think it's the team's got to figure out what's missing. I know for us, believe it or not, we were pressing so hard that we actually had a team meeting and we were like, hey, we need to go party more with our with our teammates. And it was because we were so focused on baseball that we were just getting wrapped up in everything. And it was like, hey, we need to just go have some fun together, relax, talk shop about what's going on and all that. And really, right when we did that, our season opened up. I think the pressure, we kind of took it off of ourselves. We started trusting the process a little bit more, trusting that, okay, if we end up dropping a game here, it's not that big of a deal. It is just baseball. We don't have to win every single game. But that camaraderie is everything, especially when you're trying to make a run with getting to the World Series and stuff like that. So I felt like just from afar, not that I know, I felt like that was missing a little bit from the team. And that could be from a bunch of transfers coming in and people that don't really know each other and stuff like that, and then obviously trying to live up to their hype. But, yeah, sometimes it's just get together and not think about baseball. That helps baseball.
Throw back a few cold ones and
right.
do what college kids do at times. Take the pressure off a little bit. We got a couple of segments here with Cole. We'll get back into baseball in a second. But, whenever we have a chance to visit with Cole, typically we're talking about Heart Has No Limit, which is the foundation and organization that I guess really was birthed while you were playing at LSU, actually before LSU, and has now become sort of your mission. Let's go back and remind, because you have an exciting update, but let's go back and remind people how HHNL started.
Yeah, and how HHNL started was just a tattoo I got on the side of my ribs. Once I had told myself that not only did I achieve by getting to LSU, but that I was a starting role player. And then really right after that, it was me and my sister talking about a couple things that we could get on my ribs and landed on Heart Has a Limit, and that's kind of where I thought it stopped. I turned down the draft, come back for my senior year. Maneri asked me to wear 8, and then Jeff Marks, who wrote Walking with the Tigers, wanted to do a story on me. So we start going through 8 different parts. That's what it was going to be about my life, and we landed on Heart Has a Limit. And next thing you know, he's like, dude, this whole story is going to be Heart Has a Limit. So we dove into just all the adversity I'd overcame and all that stuff. And so I just kind of opened up, and, you know, it came out. And again, I didn't think anything was going to come from it. And next thing you know, I'm getting messages saying, you know, you've proved these people wrong. I'm going to go prove these people wrong too, and achieve what I want to achieve. And next thing you know, kids are wearing Heart Has a Limit shirts that they're making, because we weren't doing anything at that point. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I started realizing, I think I've got something a little bit bigger than baseball. So that's when, right after I stopped playing at LSU, because we didn't luckily have NIL at that point, I had to wait to made the business, and just started creating clothes just to, you know, try and motivate people. I started gathering other people's stories so that maybe if my story doesn't relate, the other kids can, and then it'll push them. It was really just strictly motivation. And and then after I retired, and now we're about to get into that next piece. So.
Yeah. So it went from motivating people with your story. And for those that don't, it's weird to think of this, man, but you've been done at LSU for 10 years.
10 years.
I mean, so there's got to be people. I mean, think if there's like an 18-year-old at LSU right now listening or watching, but they may not remember. I don't know your career.
It makes
So
me feel old.
no, dude, bro, I felt old when you were playing. All right, 10 years ago. I mean, I still had a little bit of, not a lot, but I had a little bit of hair then. So, like, remind people, just Cliff's Notes version, remind people of your baseball story.
Yeah, so from the age of 4 when I started, I knew I wanted to play for LSU. Growing up in Mandeville, Louisiana, that's every kid's dream from Louisiana, that they want to play for the Tigers. And I started wearing Tiger jerseys when I was younger, full uniform, all that, and that was my goal. Well, as I got into high school, or a little bit before high school, we started realizing I wasn't growing. My dad's 6'3", my mom's about 5'6", and I just wasn't going anywhere. So I ended up having to go to an endocrinologist, figuring out, am I having a growth defect or a growth delay? What is it? I ended up finding that I had a growth delay. So nothing in the sense of like anything was wrong, just my body was behind schedule. And I think I started 26 months behind schedule. Last time I went was like up to like 19, and that's where pretty much I was staying. So I didn't hit my first growth spurt till my junior year in high school. I started high school at 5'1", 97 pounds. I got to, by the time I graduated, I was about 5'6", 145 soaking wet. Then I hit my second growth spurt when I got into my sophomore year at Delgado. But as I'm growing up, I was, you know, one of the guys on every travel ball team, and I was being told how good I was on the high school team. You know, I was second base shortstop, leading the team, and everybody just kept saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see where you're going to play." But play. Get to my end of my junior year, I end up hitting 400, make all state. I'm like, here it is. About to start rolling in. Senior year, I come back, I hit 260. I've got no calls at the end of the year. I'm crying on the kitchen counter with my parents. Like, I don't get this. Everybody's saying I'm this good. I know what I can do. Why am I not getting an opportunity? And I was getting overlooked, obviously, because of my size. But I didn't, now looking back, I see how small I was, but at that time, it did not matter to me, nor did I care. I knew I could go out there and perform against the best players. So luckily, we called in a couple favors, and 3 weeks before college was supposed to start, Joe Sherman gave me an opportunity to go over there, and then walked in there, thought I was going to redshirt, ended up beating out Cody Farrell, who became one of my better mentors. He was starting second baseman of the year. I was there the year before, and I thought he was just kind of going to have the spot. They went to the World Series, all that, ended up beating him out. Ended up having a pretty decent freshman year, hit like 266, made like 7 errors. But I had good games in the big times, and then really got on a nutrition plan my sophomore year. I was like, I need to change this look a little bit more. So I tried to put on some weight, miserable 2 months of just eating. But it raised some eyes for me. And I remember I was off. My dad was at one of the functions for him, and somebody had told him that they heard LSU was looking at me. They're like, "Oh, you didn't hear? Don't go tell Cole." Like, he's like, "All right, I got to go to the bathroom real quick." So he runs to the bathroom. He's like, "Bro, LSU's looking at you." So like our dreams finally starting to happen. And then sophomore year came, and ended up getting that offer, and the rest was history.
Yeah, it's an awesome story, and it's now sort of become Heart Has No Limit that Cole's been carrying on. So let's tell people about like what the organization has become.
Yeah, so right after I retired in 2023, I was like, I want to do more to help people. And I had this organization or this for-profit, and I was like, what can I do to, help kids go achieve their dreams? And obviously one of the big things is the mindset. And that was one of my big things was I always believed that I could. So I ended up calling a friend of mine, Brendan Hitzman, and he asked me a question, what do you want to do? I get into the whole thing. I want to help somebody. He's like, well, hey, I've got my business partner, Joel Guthrie, that's been in the nonprofit land. He's like, maybe we can get on a call, see if this happens. And one of the reasons why I was like kind of at the end of my career was like, hey, I'm ready to start making some money because I've been putting in all this effort, and how much we make in minors and stuff like that. And I could kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel that, hey, look, this probably isn't going to be the scenario I hope for, and checking that last box of being a big leaguer. And we met on that meeting, and next thing you know, he's like, this is a real thing. So I sat back and I was like, well, I started a nonprofit. I'm not making the money anytime soon, But I kind of sat there and was like, I feel like this is a sign from God. Like, if I don't capitalize on this momentum right now, then I might never get to go back and try this out. So, that's when I started my second dream now, and started the nonprofit. And what we are is a belief development program. And we just try to instill belief into young adults and young kids' minds from an early age, so that whenever life throws those battles that nobody can stop from coming, that they know how to handle those situations in the best way to, make the adjustment, and then ultimately for them to achieve their goal.
Love it, man. Cole Freeman's our guest. Let me knock out a quick break, okay? We got you for another segment. We'll come back. I want to pick up there. We'll talk about the exciting next phase of Heart Has No Limit. I want to ask Cole some baseball stuff as well. As Tigers obviously had a disappointing season, but looking to bounce back. How can they do that? We'll get into that with Cole Freeman as we continue. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Y'all, it's hot outside. I mean, it's 85 degrees, starting to get the humidity. The heat index is going up. Make sure, if you haven't done it yet, you call our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air, get your preseason AC tune-up. It's not too late. It's still the preseason, right? It's still May. I mean, I know it's already 85 degrees out there, but we're not into the everyday triple-digit temps here yet. Mention the Moscona special. Mention the show. They'll knock $30 off that price. River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or online at onehourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, onehourbr.com. I've been saying it for years. You wouldn't drive across the country without getting your oil changed, make sure your vehicle is in tip-top shape to get you where you're going. Don't go into summer in Louisiana without making sure your AC is ready to roll. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001. Everyone is looking for ways to save money, always. Have you looked at what you're paying for insurance? Look, we got to have car insurance, got to have homeowners insurance. Let Insurance Network of Louisiana shop to see if they can find you better coverage for less money. Same with your business as well. I mean, if you looked at maybe how you might be able to save on your insurance for your business to help your bottom line. Incredible testimonials that our friends over at Insurance Network of Louisiana tell me every day. Give them a shout, 293-0450, 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net. Just 2 customers last week from AFR. One had a high auto rate with State Farm, smashed it with Geico, saved $2,900 a year. Another had been with Allstate, switched to Progressive, saved nearly $1,500 a year. It's Insurance Network of Louisiana. Let them shop for free to see if they can find you better coverage for less money. lainsurance.net.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Really excited to have Cole Freeman in studio with us, former Tiger. Doing great things in this next phase of his life post-baseball with Heart Has No Limit. And as you said, it's an organization aimed at helping instill belief in young people, belief in themselves. So you keep proving the concept and working and tilling the soil and sowing good seeds, and good things are happening. So give us the update on what's next.
Yeah, so what's next is about a month and a half ago, we secured our first NCAA Division I partner.
Love it,
so
man.
we're going to have our first pilot program going through their student athletes, testing our optimism curriculum. We'll test their mindset before with a pre-survey, go through the curriculum, and then test with a post-survey. Because we believe this stuff works. We know this stuff works. It's worked for me. It's worked for my team. But we don't want somebody to have to take our word for it. We want them to see hard data showing that we are making the impact that we think we can.
How do you show hard data?
So what you end up doing is you end up coming up with a pre-survey, whatever questions. There's Lot R, these are some surveys that are already out there, and then DUIC, Denver's, and you're able to gauge on certain questions on, where's their mindset right now. Or are they looking at problems in an optimistic way, or is it just Debbie Downer type stuff? So they'll end up going through that. They end up going through our optimism curriculum, which is 3 modules. It's a 3-week program. They'll watch about a 10 to 12-minute video on it. After that, we have an actual workbook that they'll go through. They'll answer a couple of questions there. They'll have 6 days of implementation of trying to implement that into their daily life. Come back the next week, do the same thing. And then they'll get to the end of the 3rd week. Then they'll take the post-survey. At that point, it'll be kind of the same survey, and we'll be able to gauge the questions from before and after and see if ultimately are they more optimistic about their situation.
It's really cool. I'm listening to you talk, and obviously there's a lot of people who listen that are maybe business owners in the professional workplace. Is this something that would work for business owners as well? Are you strictly focusing on young people?
This would work for anybody. This is stuff that, especially the athletic side, and when you get to my age now,
But stop acting like you're old, man. You ain't old, dude. You still got your build, man. You got beautiful flowing locks. I mean, you ain't old. You got a long way to go, man.
But yeah, it's not specifically for sports or young kids. It's just we're trying to get this into a young kid or a young adult's mind early, just to prepare them. Now, it's accessible by everybody, and that's what we're building it for, is for the masses. Like we touched on it a little bit in the break, it's for the entire ecosystem. Yeah. We're just trying to change the mindset of people to where that they can handle these tough problems that life is going to throw at you. Because obviously, once you end up making it through a tough problem, maybe you realize that problem wasn't as big, I was just making it that big. So what if I look at it in a different perspective that, okay, it could have gone way worse too, ultimately. So yeah, just really trying to optimize the mind as much as possible.
It's hearthasnolimitfoundation.com is the website. Hearthasnolimitfoundation.com. Spell it all out. Hearthasnolimitfoundation.com if you want to learn more. It's congrats on getting the D1. We just called it not a test case. Would you call it
a pilot program?
A pilot program.
Study,
so the D1 pilot program. That's awesome. Can't wait to hear how that goes, man. If you're a high school, younger, or a business owner looking and maybe interested, something sparks you, go check out the curriculum at the website at hearthasnolimitfoundation.com. Connect there. People can connect with you. I know there's the contact button that connect with you there.
Yeah, there's a donation if you want to end up joining our cause, or underneath they've got my contact information, so you can obviously reach me there, or even on Instagram at Cold Drink. We're trying to, this stuff that especially right now, we're trying to collect the data on it, so we are trying to give it out as much as possible. There is no charge for anything. We come straight in. We've got our donors on the side. So if you want to be one of those donors, make sure you reach out to me.
That's an important part to note that I probably should have started with, is that it's if there's no charge to a school or a team to try to implement this, as it is nonprofit. So that's awesome, man. Congrats on everything, man, to see this all moving through. So get online and learn more. If you're interested, hearthasnolimitfoundation.com. I know that I wanted to ask you, I know that Coach Maneri's on your board for Heart Has No Limit. And look, it didn't go well at South Carolina for him. Were you surprised?
Definitely was surprised, for sure. I think he had his first losing season last year, I want to say, in his entire career.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that was.
I mean, I don't know what, like maybe back at St. Thomas back in the day, but you would know better than me.
I believe it was his first losing season. I mean, I know Notre Dame and obviously what he did here spoke for itself. But, more upset for him than anything, just because, I mean, that man cares about his players a ton, especially if you show up and you give him everything you got. Even if you're not performing at what he's expecting you to, as long as you're going there every day, putting in the work, he's going to have your back. I think also, too, South Carolina, they were a little bit unfair to him too, especially with, how the new game is with NIL and all that. I mean, they're expecting him to come out and, almost have a championship team right off the bat. I think that's a little unfair to ask for him, but that's what comes when you're one of the best coaches to ever, coach in college baseball. So, and I know he understands that too. But yeah, wish it would have went a little bit different for him, just especially at the end of his career.
It's so interesting, man. Carolina is a place. Remember when Paul took that job? They're an SEC program with great history. They won national championships. The interesting thing, though, is the investment in that program hasn't maybe matched the top of the conference, but the expectations have never waned, which makes it a really, really difficult situation to go in. Kind of what you just alluded to. I mean, you want to expect great things, you got to invest great things. I'm not sure South Carolina did that in their roster and NIL and otherwise, but I know the Maneris had built a home here before Coach took the job there at South Carolina. So I'm fairly certain the expectation is still that he'll retire here and spend the rest of his days here, which is awesome, and have him sort of around the program and as an ambassador of the program for years to come. I'm sure it'll be the case.
As he should. And I mean, you want a guy around the program like that, especially. I mean, his name is going to be forever etched in stone, and obviously what he's done, the players he's made that came out of here. I mean, they're obviously still doing big things in the MLB. So, I hope him and his family end up staying here.
I'm sure they will. The interesting thing, too, in the current state of the program is right now how to get back, right? And I'm so interested, Cole, because you played in a different era, and you're the guy that was sort of like the quintessential LSU baseball player that most people of any era could describe, right? The kid who grew up would give an arm to wear the uniform, just to be out on the field. And there's a never-ending list of those guys. And it's just interesting in this era how building a roster is just different now. Mm-hmm. It is. So what do you think Jay Johnson needs to do to get the program back to where everyone expects it to be?
I think maybe you don't go after the big names just because they're a big name. York, for example. I went and saw his stats at where he was, and they were pretty good. But is he getting those hits in the midweek games and then kind of faltering on the conference tournaments? What's he doing on Friday when he's facing the best pitcher? Going a little bit deeper into, is there any holes in his swings? Because, I mean, when you come into the SEC, obviously you're getting the best of the best. And not only that, when you come to LSU, you're getting the best of the best every single game, even during the midweeks. The midweeks, they're going to save, especially if it's out of conference, the midweeks are going to save their top guy to come in because there's points, especially if they come into our field and beat us. I think they end up getting a full 2 points or something, which ends up getting them to the postseason much easier. So you're getting everybody's best, and that's pretty tough because you always got to show up. And I know that's one thing we struggled with my senior year. I think we lost 7 or 8 midweek games, but we crushed during the SEC. I think he's got to go after more grit guys, more of those dirtbag players, and maybe it won't even cost you that much, or maybe better locker room guys too as well. Because I brought up yesterday on Hesser's Rock, Russell Reynolds. Mm-hmm. He was the glue for our team in a sense, because if something was going wrong in the locker room, he'd shut it down real quick. He was kind of the bad boy player. Now, I don't know if this team had that. I might be speaking a little out of turn just because I don't fully know what they had going on in the locker room, but it seemed like that from afar that they were missing something like that. So maybe going a little bit deeper into, what are their statistics, not overall, but is there any glaring misses there? And then, again, getting just a couple hard-nosed guys to get in there, get dirty, and really know what the culture of LSU is about.
And would you see, one more thing, would you see from the pitching that had so much arm talent? Yeah. God, I mean, Cole, every dude's out there chucking 95, 97, snapping off breaking balls. The ability is undeniable. The ability to throw strikes was a problem. So, what did you see with a trained eye watching the pitching staff?
My first thing that I go to is the environment. When you've got talent like that, especially if they've already proven at some other schools, well, what's the big difference now? Okay, yes, they're definitely facing consistent hitters, better consistent hitters more often. But like you just said, the strike zone, inch out the zone, ball out the zone, 2 balls out the zone. What's that heart doing? Are they able to embrace 12,000 in the stands every time? Are they able to embrace, if they had a bad outing, what's X saying? What's Tiger Dropping saying? Like, there comes a lot with putting on the LSU uniform. And, I mean, we had players at the time that were big-name guys and came in here, and just that pressure ended up eating them. And just from afar, I think that's what it was maybe the number 1, number 2 status starting the year, then them coming in and maybe them trying to have their expectations too high for themselves at that point, instead of just, getting grounded, getting in there, getting a couple reps in, feeling good, and then building from there. It's, to me, it's got to be pressure when they're just a bunch of balls. That heart beats a lot faster. They're sweating a lot more. Just the game is moving a lot faster to them.
Bro, it's so weird that regionals are going to start on Friday and LSU's not playing. It's a really weird thing, because the expectation, I know nobody has an expectation higher for this program than Jay Johnson.
Yeah.
That LSU's not in, and there's probably nobody I'd rather have working to get him back.
Did you see the statistic that came out? How many games we lost in the SEC? I think it was 21.
Yeah, they were 9-21.
We haven't lost that many games since we had entered the SEC. Since 1933.
It's wild.
That's mind-boggling, especially with where we started. It wasn't like my junior year when we came in. It was like, oh, we got to replace Bregman, all these guys, and got some JUCO guys coming in. What are we going to have? It was their number 1, number 2.
Yeah.
And then that ends up happening. So it is what it is.
Yeah, we had Curiel and Gavin Guidry and Cooper Moore and Chris Stanfield in studio yesterday. And I think we're having the convo with Derek and with Gavin that, like, I've talked to some scouts who think, like, the raw talent on this team alone, we may look back in 10 years, 15 years, whatever, and this team may produce more big leaguers than any of Jay's previous teams. It sounds wild to think of it, but you're just talking about projectability.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's you get it. Mm-hmm. I mean, but that's what scouts are looking for. They're looking for prospects that they can project who will one day get in their farm system and become a big league.
Right.
And this team kind of had that, but it just didn't come together, man. It's an
camaraderie. I'm telling you, it's that camaraderie. You've got to have each other's backs.
See if they can figure that out this offseason and get the right blend. No doubt that Jay Johnson's the right guy to get him back. And no doubt we'll keep up with Cole Freeman doing awesome things. HeartHasNoLimitFoundation.com. Check out the website, HeartHasNoLimitFoundation.com. Always great to see you, man. Thank you for the time.
I appreciate you always having me on.
Of course. We'll continue to do it. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, ParishRestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. All this rain, all this nasty weather. You got water intrusion at your house, your business. Let Jim Woodworth and the gang come. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's efficient. It's cost-effective. It's more effective. They can fog your home in half a day. It's ParishRestoration.com. Mold remediation done right the first time. ParishRestoration.com. Check them out online. Get that quote, ParishRestoration.com. All right, I got a break. We'll come back when we return. Remember, Kendall Rogers in 30 minutes. Speaking of regionals, we'll preview regionals with Kendall in about 30 minutes. And big news out of Congress with the bipartisan legislation that's now moving forward. Jeff Watson, who's an attorney on Gordon McKernan's team, does a lot of NIL work. He's going to be with us to talk like if this is even legally plausible. He'll kind of give us some layman's terms answers to some of that coming up here in about 45 minutes from right now. Well, I got a quick break. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
I've heard so much talk about things like peptides, hormone replacement therapy. If you're curious, go to Goodwood. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. I was talking with someone yesterday. It's funny because the name's funny, the logo's funny, and I get it. You got to get past that. It's an attention-grabbing thing, and it works. People notice it all the time. But the bottom line is, what they do at Goodwood is help men feel your best to live your optimal life. Okay, literally every single one of us. Nobody is exempt. Every one of us, as we age, our bodies produce less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. Things that help us have mental clarity, sleep well at night, waking energy, build muscle, burn fat, all those things. If you can regain that youthful feeling again, simple blood test can set you on that path. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalBR.com.
SEC spring meetings going on in Florida. And I think really the central topic and talking point going on at all of these spring meetings that will persist throughout the entire offseason and into the season toward December is the future of the college football playoff. Is it going to stay at 12? Do they expand to 24? Do they go to 16? Which does not seem likely. As a matter of fact, there was a report today from On3 that citing a Big Ten source that 16 is off the table. There was some consideration of going to 16 for 3 years and then expanding to 24. But that Big Ten source told On3 today, the idea of 16 is off the table. And remember, you have to have the Big Ten and the SEC agree to be able to change the format. Otherwise, it stays at 12. Well, one thing that is certainly going to be a part of this conversation is conference championship games. It's a very complicated part of this entire conversation because if you go to 24, the way the calendar would work out, conference championship games go away. Right? You would play, the regular season would end on Thanksgiving weekend, and the next week would be the first round of the college football playoff on campus. And you'd have 2 rounds on campus, and then you would likely filter into the New Year's Six, as they're known now, and the quarters, the semis. Then you play the championship game on January the 7th, 8th. You know, that for the Monday on the first full week of January. So you'd have to do away with the SEC championship games. Now, Kirby Smart has kind of stumped for keeping the SEC championship game and the value of that game. And there is a financial component of that, which is undeniable. And Greg Sankey's talked about that. And honestly, you have contracts. Like, you have a contract with the city of Atlanta. You have a contract with now ESPN for that game. Can you legally break that contract? If so, would it cost? Is it worth doing? All that sort of stuff still needs to be answered. But Lane Kiffin, when sort of discussing Kirby Smart's comments about the SEC championship game, kind of punched back with the counter argument at Kirby.
Yeah, I don't have a lot on it. You know, there's certain subjects that come up that I really feel strong on. I think that one's hard to figure out, you know, because, you know, he can say he loves the game, but did he love it when he lost his, you know, quarterback in the game? You know, so, you know, for the playoffs. So there's things in that there's good and bad to it, and I think the variable of what is the playoff and how many are in it and what is that seeding like and how many automatic before, I think you need to know that, in my opinion, before you make the decision on the championship game.
It's important to remember Kirby Smart and Lane Kiffin are, I think it's fair to say, friends. They're certainly friendly. When Lane was on Pardon My Take, he talked about being in the text groups with Kirby. They're kind of the OGs. I mean, Kirby's the elder statesman of the conference now, which is weird to think, but it's true. So I think Lane could make that comment, but that had to be a shot across the bow, and he's not wrong. I mean, Georgia, I'm not saying that if Carson Beck were not injured in the SEC championship game that Georgia would have gone on to beat Notre Dame in that Sugar Bowl and maybe win the national championship. I don't know that would have been in the cards for that Georgia team. But I think it stands to reason that Georgia would have had a better shot of beating Notre Dame in that Sugar Bowl with Carson Beck than with Gunnar Stockton making his first ever start. That's not some outlandish statement, right? Stockton has got Georgia back to the playoff this year, and I think is a very good player, obviously. But Lane kind of knew where to punch there, and I think he hit the right button, as a matter of fact. The financial component is interesting as well because the SEC championship, it's estimated, generates somewhere $80 to $100 million a year in revenue for the league's members. Okay, so if you're looking at $100 million in revenue, and you divide that 17 ways, right? Because it's split, it goes into the pot, so it's not what, but it goes in the pot. And it's divided up 17 equal ways, 16 members, and then the league office gets a share. That comes out to about, at the high end, the 100, if they generate 100 million, the high end, it comes out to about $5 to $6 million a year, which is not insignificant. Okay, but that game alone doesn't even make up for the deficiency of the $20 million line item you added with revenue share. So I guess the way to say it is it worth keeping that game and altering your entire postseason over $5 million? And the answer is probably not. Like, that's not the deal breaker. But you have to make up that revenue. So this is really the question. And I don't have the answer because I'm not looking at the financials. I don't know what's going to happen. But the question is, does going to 24 replace the money you're going to lose by taking away the conference championship game? Now, for every other league, the answer is yes, because the SEC championship game by far is the most successful. Premier time, sponsor dollars, sold out, all that sort of stuff. It's the oldest conference championship game and the most successful by a country mile. It's not even debatable. So all the other leagues could very easily replace that revenue by expanding the playoff. The SEC would be the one where you go, we'd have to see what the financials look like. But my guess is going to 24 will. Now, we saw a couple of weeks ago that ESPN says their preference would be not expanding the playoff. Well, naturally, because if they expand the playoff, that's more TV inventory. ESPN would have to pay more for an expanded playoff. And I don't think they have a great temperature maybe to do that right now. So do you see multiple broadcast outlets come into play? Maybe, maybe not. But you could see something like what's happened with the NCAA basketball tournament, with CBS and Turner sharing the rights. It could happen. That wouldn't be the preference, certainly for ESPN, ABC. But it may be what has to happen if Fox or a streaming service like Netflix or Apple or whatever, Prime, whatever, decide to get involved. They'll make it work. They'll make it work. But financially, that's the one thing that's got to make sense. Now, speaking of Kirby, he also sort of, I mentioned saber rattling, and this is a common thing. And it's kind of like, if we don't get our way, we'll take our ball and go home. And Kirby made the boldest statement yet about that.
I've said this for a long time to our president. I've been a huge advocate that if we can't find rules that everybody plays by, then we should play our own. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid to break away and say that our conference is strong enough to go out and play. I mean, like, if we could actually function and it financially would make our programs more stable and we could support things financially, I'm talking about all the sports, and do by our own rules, I'd be all for that. I've been to this meeting now 10, 11 times, and it's frustrating at times to say, well, we can't do this because of litigation. We can't do this because of litigation. We can't do this because we'll get sued. We can't do that. And we're just trying to do things for the betterment of the sport and the betterment of the student athletes. And that's not curtailing what money they make. I'm not advocating that they make less money. I'm fine with what student athletes make. I'm trying to make it where it's as equal and as comparable footing for everybody, and it's not a race to the bottom, as they say.
It's important to note what Kirby's talking about there is not specifically the conference championship game as where we started this. But what he is saying is, like, if we can't come to an agreement on all things, not only a playoff, but rules, like if the NCAA rules your player ineligible, you're not going to go to court to sue to gain eligibility. He's ineligible. Then let's break away and do our own thing, is what he's saying. Now, the SEC could certainly sustain itself independently. It would look dramatically different. I don't think that's where this thing is headed. But when you have as big a voice as there is in college football, and Kirby Smart saying, I've told our president, let's break away and be independent, it's a strong voice in the room that at least commands attention and respect and consideration. And I don't think we're headed there. But I think what it does is influences other people to try to reach across the table to meet you halfway in what is a very complex time in college athletics history. All right, it's after further review. You got feelings, you can always get in. You can email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you get involved in the show. We're going to knock out a quick break, come back. We usually do Tigers and the Pros. Kendall Rogers here in 15 minutes. We've got a jam-packed 5 o'clock hour. Kendall Rogers, Jeff Watson, Sean Fazan from OTAs in New Orleans. Jimmy will be here for Auto Locks. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They're complete employer solutions at Glow Resources. If you need the best people in the right jobs in your organization to be the most effective, efficient, productive, profitable organization you can be, Glow Resources. Check them out, glowresources.com. It doesn't matter where your business is physically or where you physically do work. Glow Resources can help you find people all over the country, the world, to find the right people to be the most productive and profitable you can be. Like right now, they're hiring an entry-level maintenance technician for a company in Gonzales, Louisiana. You want that info, you can get it at glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They're looking for an entry-level paver operator in Mandeville. I can keep going all day. Accounts receivable clerk in Gonzales. In Full Shear, Texas, they need a lattice boom crane operator. The point is, whether it's skilled blue-collar labor or any type of office job, you need to hire the right people. You want Glow Resources. glowresources.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Real quick, you just heard us talk about, or you just heard the jingle for Parish Construction and Roofing. The Louisiana Department of Insurance a day ago announced an expansion of the fortified roof program. If you're not familiar, I'll way oversimplify this. A fortified roof adds an extra layer of security to your roof. So in the event of roof damage, it'll prevent water intrusion. So the idea is, storm comes, you might have roof damage. We're trying to prevent water from getting in your house, which would then create a big mess, right? Sheetrock and contents of the home and all that stuff. So insurance companies love it. So the state wants more fortified roofs in Louisiana. Parish, we are the state's first certified fortified roofing company. We've done dozens and dozens and dozens of fortified roofs, so we'd love to help you out. The state is awarding 3,000 grants of up to $10,000 to get a fortified roof. If you want to apply, go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Get the banner right at the top of the homepage, parishbuilt.com. I think you'd see it. If you see right there, the banner right at the top of the homepage, parishbuilt.com, where you can go sign up. It'll take you right to the link at the LDI website to sign up. And when you sign up for a grant, if you're awarded, you can also choose your roofing company. We'd love it if you choose us at Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, Parish Construction and Roofing. Okay, Muse, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Kevin Gausman, another really solid outing for him. The Toronto Blue Jays back on Wednesday. 5 innings, just the 1 run allowed. It was earned. 2 walks and 5 punch-outs. Got through it on 95 pitches. Unfortunately, got stuck with a no decision in the game. When he left, it was Toronto had a 1-0 lead, but they would it was tied at 1-1. They would actually take the lead in the 6th after he was out, so he got the no decision there. But another solid outing nonetheless. Hunter Fiducia, our guy. He was the Rays guy last night, man. He's taken over the full-time catching duties in Tampa Bay. Their offense stunk yesterday, but Fiducia did not. He was 3 for 4, led the team in hits. All 3 of those were singles, was not retired until his 4th at-bat.
Why would he retire? He's still a young guy.
Was not retired by the pitcher until his 4th at-bat, which came in the 8th inning of that ball game. Rays lost 11-2. Alex Bregman, 2 for 6. No. 2 for 6, his 8th double of the season. The other was a single. Did come around to score once in the game. And the Cubbies snapped that losing streak at 10 games. Angel Reese fell just short. No. It's an all-boys school. Yeah.
She's not a boy.
She's not a boy.
Nope.
Not a boy. Fell just short of a double-double, 10 points, 8 boards in the game, but did have 5 assists to go along. The Dream were a loser. And how about Anissa Morrow as well? WNBA Connecticut Sun there. Morrow, 13-13 a night ago. That is her 6th double-double of the year. That leads the entire WNBA. And the Sun, who have 1 win on the year, lost by 10. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Y'all, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, looking at you, 337. Shreveport, looking at you, 318. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Say it all the time. It's like Goldilocks, man. Just right. The big box stores, impersonal cookie cutter. The boutique jewelers, not as great a selection, tend to be overpriced. Lee Michaels, because they're buying for 9 stores, they have enough buying power to give you great prices, but also a great selection as well. But they're still small enough to give you the amazing customer service experience. They call it the Lee Michaels experience. Go experience that and thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Happened to be listening to The Oddfather. Well, I was listening to Live at Lunch. I was in the car, had a lunch meeting. It was actually with our friends over at River Parish Contractors. And I was driving back, so I was in the car at the end of Live at Lunch as Ott and Haney were going off air, and Hunt was coming on air. And Ott gave out a pick.
Okay. What was it?
Little day baseball. It was the White Sox and the Twins were playing. He gave the White Sox. Really liked the White Sox, that pitching matchup he did.
Okay.
6-2 winner on the honor.
There we go.
Give me a little bit. When you're hot, you're hot.
Love when you're hot, you're hot.
I mean, did you play a drop there? Or was that you saying something?
No, I played 2 at once because the mouse was stuck in between. That's my bad.
It's 450. That makes sense. Now I got what happened, Muse. The mouse was stuck between 2 buttons excuse.
AFR.
Don't worry, Muse. I got your back. We don't P-test anymore. We're brought to you by Arco Power Systems. Arco.com. ARCCO. Arco.com. Arco.com. Hey, do you own a business? Then you need to know about Arco Power Systems. Do you manage a commercial facility? You need to know about Arco Power Systems. Do you work at a building? Then you need to make sure your boss knows about Arco Power Systems. Because when a storm comes and the power goes out, what happens? Well, at our home, we got a standby generator, right? You should. Well, what happens about your business? Arco, they do not do home standby generators. Arco does standby generators for your business. This is industrial Generac generator power for your business, your commercial industrial facility. Arco.com. Arco.com.